What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Clearance Camo podcast. I'm your host, the Clearance Camo Hunter. Today, we're going to be talking about some dumb animals, specifically talking about pets. If you guys have any stories you want to share with me, go ahead and share those at my email at clearancecamo@gmail.com. You can also leave me a voice message at the bottom of this podcast. There's also Instagram at clearancecamo underscore DOT underscore COM. And you can also find me on Facebook on Clarence Camo. I have the same profile picture. It may not say Clarence Camo on it, but it's the same picture of a deer on the horizon. So that's how you know it's gonna be me. So today we have a sponsor from Beaver Creek Game Calls. Now Beaver Creek Game Calls build some duck calls, goose calls, deer and turkey calls. They even have predator calls. So check them out. I would recommend you go with their acrylic duck calls. So try the Blizzard. It's a great duck call. I strongly recommend that. If you're looking to get a turkey call, they do make some personalized ones, so you can get your picture on that call, which is pretty nifty. So if you have a mount and you want to get a picture with the mount, the day that you got that spectacular gobbler, you can actually put that on a call and make it part of your mount. And so I would recommend you check them out. You go to beavercreekgamecalls.com. When you go to checkout, you can use the discount code of duck25 DUCK25, and you can get 25% off of your order. So I recommend you check those guys out, and I hope they bring a little bit more success to what you have. So, like I said, we were going to do some talking about some dumb animals. So, I've got a dog who likes to evacuate himself whenever there's any sort of scary notion anywhere near him. Just the other day, we were sitting in the living room. My dog was in the kitchen, and he decided he wanted to join us. And we have a baby gate blocking the kitchen and the living room. That makes it so that the dog doesn't get in the living room and bug the kids. The kids can't get, well, my son anyway, can't get out of the living room and get into things he's not supposed to be getting into. I have a dog door in the kitchen so that the dog can let himself out. So I'm not getting up, getting through the baby gate, getting outside, letting the dog out, having to let him back in, go back through the baby gate. It makes it a lot easier when I have the dog door. So anyway, the dog wanted to come join us in the living room, and so he jumped up on top of the baby gate with his front paws, but his back paws couldn't find anything to grab onto. So they ended up getting tangled in the rungs, and my dog fell forward. But with his leg tangled where it was, he was unable to actually reach the ground. And so then he's just sitting there yipping, and he was scared so bad that he ended up peeing all over himself. So that was a fun little mess to clean up. But I go over, I pet him on the back to let him know I was there because I've been bit by a dog and I really don't want to do that again. So I pet him to let him know I was there. I pick him up, get his leg untangled, and because he had peed so much, I let him outside and I had to clean up that mess. Uh, it wasn't a little bit of a mess either. He really let her rip. My daughter, my 3-year-old, uh, with her infinite curiosity, wanted to see what was going on. And so then I had to end up sitting her in a chair while I could get it cleaned up because I really didn't want her walking through it. But I got it all cleaned up, and now my dog's a little bit afraid of the baby gate, which I can understand. And I would prefer him not to jump on it. But I guess kudos to that baby gate for being able to hold my dog's weight. It's only screwed into one side of the wall. The other side has a latch, and it's a swinging baby gate. So you open it up, swing it in, and you can walk through, and then you can close it, latch it back up. It's not like the old school wooden baby gates where they just kind of use pressure up against the wall. So kudos to this baby gate for being able to hold up to that kind of weight on one end and not breaking. That really built a lot of faith into that baby gate. But this dog has had some other instances where he's decided to evacuate himself. We've moved furniture several times, and we've learned after the first time after having the dog that when we move furniture, we have to hide him. Otherwise, it's a messy situation. We were moving some dressers into my daughter's room, and when we were moving them, my dog did not like the fact that the dresser was moving, so he decided to head for the hills, but on the way, he decided to poop. And so there's a string of poop. as he's running away. And so after I got done laughing, I had to clean all that up. But uh, I don't know if I've ever seen a dog poop and run at the same time. So there was that. He's also been in some scenarios where loud noises will scare him. My brother in law was watching my kids. My daughter spilled his drink. And so he kind of exclaimed kind of loudly uh, to show his displeasure. He didn't necessarily yell at my daughter, but he was just in a loud tone was speaking, and my dog did not like that, and so he pissed himself, tucked tail, and headed for the bedroom and hid. So I guess the poor dog just really doesn't like any sort of loud noises or anything to startle him. Um, he's very much gun shy. He's not a great duck dog because of that. He also can't retrieve. No matter how much I've tried, he can't retrieve. I don't know why he's gun shy. I was able to take him out shooting, um, and he did just fine with it. And then one day he wasn't. So now whenever I pull a gun out of the safe, he runs and hides. And I don't know why. He's never been injured by a gun. He's always done well when I was shooting with him up until the point where he wasn't. So I don't know what happened there, but uh, I guess just that's just the way some dogs are. Now I've had some other dogs in the past that have been great duck dogs and didn't have any problems like this. So I don't understand uh, where I went different with this dog, but sometimes things just happen. He's a great family dog, though. I do have to give him that. He puts up with a lot when I've got two toddlers, a 6 year old, and I got another child on the way, and he can put up with a lot. Um, as we all know, kids are not necessarily gentle with animals, and we're working on trying to teach our kids to be soft. So my 3 year old and my 6 year old, they know that they can't pet a dog unless they're asked. They're soft with it. The thing we're really trying to work on is to try and stay out of their face. But sometimes kids just get excited. My 1 year old, trying to tell him to be soft is like trying to tell the Hulk to come back to Bruce Banner. It doesn't always work. Um, so it's it's an ongoing struggle, especially where the kids just keep coming for some reason. I guess I got to do some digging into what makes that happen. But no, I'm just kidding. I got fixed, so hopefully we're done here. But uh, if you guys have any funny stories, go ahead and let me know about that. Once again, my email is clearancecamo@gmail.com. Um, Another fun story for you is I also have some unusual pets. They're not necessarily unusual for my neck of the woods, but they are unusual for most of the country, I would say. I have 7 ducks. Now, I know that sounds weird where I'm a big duck hunter, but ducks to me are more than just something to fly and shoot. I think ducks are a beautiful animal. I do love to eat ducks. The ducks that I have at home, though, will not be eaten themselves. We actually have them for eggs and for pest control. Ducks work really well to take care of your wasp problem. We had a big problem with some wasps the first year we were in our house. We had some other ducks, and after we had those ducks, I only saw about 3 or 4 wasps. So they did a great job at taking care of that problem. Earwigs was another one, and I hardly saw any earwigs. So kudos to the ducks for taking care of the bugs for us. The one thing that they did attract though was rock chucks, and I took care of a few of those myself. They like to eat my duck food, and I have to actually pay for that, so I'm not too keen on a wild animal eating my duck food. So I took care of that. They also attracted a lot of magpies, but so does the dog food. So we have a lot of magpies. You can't really take care of that yourself. The best you can do is let the dog loose and scare him away. With my dog being as scared as he is, he'll go outside, and as soon as he goes outside, he runs back in, but it scares the magpies away. So I guess it's kind of a win-win. Didn't have to kill any magpies, and they all leave. The downside is my dog is scared. Thank goodness he's outside though, so we don't have to clean up any messes from being scared of the magpies. So uh, if you guys have never had a duck egg, I really recommend you try one at some point. They're a creamier egg. They're phenomenal. I was trying to talk my wife into getting some geese but she's not too keen on having a goose because they can be quite mean. But those eggs are phenomenal. They're quite a bit larger than a duck or a chicken egg, and so they have a very small time frame where they actually lay their eggs, and they don't lay a whole lot. For a lot of ducks and chickens, you can see more than 300 eggs a year. Where a goose, if you have a spectacular laying goose, you can see 100, and that's really really rare. Most of the time, you're seeing about 50 or 60. So they're not really great for being layers, but if that's what you plan on doing is having goose eggs, uh, well, they lay them in the fall and they make a great deviled egg, and they're huge. So that's something to keep in mind if you're looking into an egg bird. Uh, if you want some big eggs to kind of treat the family a little bit, goose is a good way to go. And then I don't know if any of you have priced out geese at the supermarket. They're not cheap, which actually surprises me because in our area, goose is not a bird that people typically like to eat. Now, I don't mind goose, but I use a lot more than the meat on a goose. I'll also use the feathers. I tie flies. My wife's great grandmother, who is 92 years old, I believe, she can actually take the down and she uses that for quilts, and she's been doing that all of her life. She was raised in the Depression, so she kind of understands that you got to use everything that you get. So she's really, really crafty when it comes to that stuff. Um, so I prefer to have an entire goose, not just a goose to cook. I want to have the feathers so I can make some down, and I also tie flies. So uh, duck feathers, goose feathers, I'll use those to tie the flies. Um, so I'd rather be resourceful than wasteful on that. So when I hunt geese, it's definitely not going to waste. But if I were to have geese for a pet, I would definitely be eating those eggs as much as I could. But I'm also a huge egg lover. It's not uncommon for me to go through a dozen eggs in 2 days, actually, unless I'm pickling them. Then it's even faster. Uh, I buy when I buy eggs, I buy the 60 pack, and that'll almost get me through 2 weeks if I'm pickling. So I really love eggs, but that's getting off topic. So another fun story about some animals. So I had another dog when I was growing up, and uh, he was pretty much a moron. So he was actually one of the pups that my dad's dog had. He My dad had his dog bred with an AKC champion dog, champion retriever. This dog had been on many hunts, and I he used to actually have his picture up in one of our stores here for to show how many ducks they got that day or how many geese. He had several pictures up. Uh, he was a phenomenal dog, but apparently that gene did not make his way down to this particular pup. Uh, he was very much so a moron. Uh, no matter what we did, we couldn't get him to stop eating rocks. When we talked to the vet said that's just what some dumb dogs do is they eat rocks. And one of the rocks that he had eaten was actually about the size of the base of a soda can. And I don't know how he got that down, but he was able to get it back up and without choking. So went through his throat twice, and he made it out alive on that one. That's like those guys that swallow cue balls at the bar to try and make a couple extra bucks so they can buy a beer. I don't know how that happens, but by golly, some people just have that skill, I suppose. So I've had some dumb animals in my life. I haven't had too many smart ones. I did have one dog. Uh, he was an amazing dog. He knew how to sit, retrieve. Uh, he was leash trained like right off the bat. Uh, Great dog. He was able to sniff out birds at a very young age. He could smell pheasants before I even got him. Before we even were able to bring him home, he could smell pheasants, and he was just a great dog. Very lanky though. He had the build of a moose, so that's why we named him Moose. Very long legs, slender body, and this dog was definitely a swimmer. But unfortunately, he escaped one day and made his way to the highway and wasn't able to make it back. So rest in peace, Moose. We love you. We miss you. But he was a great dog. And so apparently, whenever I get the smart dogs, they're too dumb to make it to where they want to stay home. So if you guys have any fun stories, though, go ahead and let me know. If you guys want to donate to the podcast or donate to any of our hunting stories, go ahead and hit me up on Cash App. I have a Cash App that you can donate to. It's Clearance Camo, capital C in clearance and capital C for camo. Uh, Go ahead and hit me up. All of the donations will get a special thank you on the podcast and on our blog and Instagram. Anyone who wants to donate a story, you're more than welcome to do that. If anyone's looking to sponsor an episode, you're more than welcome to do that. We have a little bit of an unorthodox way of sponsoring. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and hit me up. Shoot me an email at clearancecamo@gmail.com. Like I said, it's pretty unorthodox. So if you want to get your brand on the channel, let me know. It's a lot easier than you would think. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's podcast. It was a pleasure talking to you. And as always, aim slow, shoot fast.